So welcome back to my channel, and today we're covering something that comes up all the time when people are thinking about becoming a virtual assistant. They ask, do you have what it takes to be a VA? And the answer is, you probably already do. So first of all, let me give you a bit of context. The demand for virtual assistants has grown massively over the last few years. As more companies moved to remote working, they realized they needed support, but not necessarily a full-time employee in the office. So that's where VAs come in, drumroll. VAs have become genuinely valued members of the workforce. They are supporting business owners and professionals with everything from admin to social media to project management. It's actually a real career, not just a side gig anymore. And if they choose it, if they want it as a side gig, awesome. If they don't, they can actually create a real career. And I see many, many virtual assistants doing this. They grow their business, they grow a team, and before you know it, they've got their own little business of virtual assistants somehow before they knew it, and they've grown something so good for themselves. And that is why virtual assistants the world of it has become a huge thing. But in order to be a virtual assistant, there are some core skills that make these people, grow their businesses, grow their careers, get those clients, and these skills is how they do it. So there are 9 skills every virtual assistant needs. So these are the 9. I'm going to break these down for you. So the first one is communication. So this is a very important one. As a virtual assistant, you're working remotely. So there's no popping over to someone's desk to ask that, little question. Everything that you do is via email, chat, phone, video call, you name it, but it's all done online. You need to be very clear and professional and responsive when in your communications. You'll find like a lot of clients will expect you to answer within a few hours if you've got set hours with them, that type of thing. So being responsive is really important. But let me ask you this. If you can write a clear email and hold a confident conversation, if you can do these 2 things, you've already covered this. Those are the 2 main activities that you will end up doing, and it is such an important aspect of virtual assistant. So if you can do them, then this is a skill that you can tick off that list. So let's move on to another one. This one's a personal favorite of mine. Being organized. When it comes to being a virtual assistant, you're going to be managing client calendars, scheduling appointments, arranging meetings, or the other aspect, which is social media. You're going to be juggling a lot and, meeting all these deadlines that they have. So if you're someone who naturally likes things in order, this will come easily to you. Making sure that things are running on time, making sure that everyone's where they need to be, you're doing the work that you need to be doing. You'll find that you'll be organizing your own time, the client's time as well, so you'll be managing both. If you absolutely love doing this stuff, or you just got a knack for it, you find it very easy, you've got no problem with this. If not, if you do struggle just to stay on top of things, don't worry, this is a skill that you can develop. And there are so many ways to develop it. There are tools to help you. There are classes to teach you how to be a bit more organized. But there are so many ways to develop this further if you are really struggling, because there's nothing worse than jumping into a role or, becoming a virtual assistant and really struggling with one aspect. Not organization doesn't come naturally to many of us. It's something that we've learned, and some people don't learn it. So it's nothing to be worried about. It can be developed, and so can all of the other ones be developed as well. So don't panic if you're thinking, I haven't got that skill, it doesn't come naturally to me. It's fine, you can develop it, you can learn these skills. But it gives you a chance to think, oh, okay, I'm not good at that. All right, let me just look into how do I get good at this? So don't worry too much. Another one is time management. This one's huge, especially when you're juggling multiple clients, like I have done in the past. I had about 7 clients at one time, and it is a bit of a juggle. Each one has their own deadlines, their own priorities, their own expectations from you. So you need to be able to switch between them without dropping the ball. But don't worry, there are tools like Google Calendar and Trello there to make it so much easier. So find what works for you when it comes to time management. Google Calendar works personally for myself because I have clients that actually use it, and then I find it easier just to integrate all of them and all my tasks in one place. But find out what works for you. The next one, you don't need to be a tech wizard for this one, technical skills, but you do need to be actually comfortable picking things up. So because we're evolving with new tools, new apps all the time, there's loads. Look at AI, we've got tons of tools. There will always be a new tool to learn. But with new clients, there is an expectation of you understanding how they work. So, for example, I currently know three different email platforms, but they may have a different one. That client will still probably take me on because I understand email platforms from my experience, but it's fine that I don't know it because they'll teach me it or they'll tell me how to use it. They have the expectation that you have a basic understanding of things, how things work, or an expectation that you're quite happy to figure things out, you can run with it or look at YouTube videos or anything like that. But there has to be a willingness to learn these additional tools, basically. And clients do appreciate that as well. But there are tons and tons of tools out there. So don't panic when it comes to the technical skills too much, in the fact that you think you need to know every single thing, every single platform to be hired all the time. Clients will just appreciate that you know some of it or you're willing to learn, basically. Problem solving. Clients hire you to take things off their plate. So when something unexpected comes in, and trust me, it will, they need to know you can handle it without running to them every 5 minutes. Being able, just to get on with things or find a solution and work independently is a valuable trait that every single client likes. And this is how you will obtain long-term clients as well. If you go to a client and go, by the way, there's a problem here, but this is a solution, you're going to find that your relationship between you and the client is going to get stronger because they start to rely on you and they trust you more to deal with things when they come up, rather than coming to them and going, oh, something's wrong. Yeah, they won't appreciate it as much. If you can just take a step back and go, right, how do I solve this? Or go to a client, go, I've had a look, I've tried to figure out, I can't figure this out. Do you know a solution to this problem? They'll be thankful that you've tried. So trying is better than just leaving it and running to the client every time there is an issue. The next one is a biggie. Attention to detail. Sounds like a silly one. It really does, but it's actually a really, really important one. So you'll find that you'll be doing client-facing stuff like emails, social media posts, reports, things that they send out, that kind of thing. There is nothing worse than a typo or a wrong date. This can reflect really badly on your client's business. An extension, you. So take the extra moment to check your work. It matters. It really, really matters. There are AI tools. There's Grammarly. There's tons of spell checking tools out there. If you aren't sure that something, if you're not sure about something, or if you don't think something sounds great. So attention detail is really important. Interpersonal skills. Even though it's all remote, we're all from home, virtual assistant work is relationship based. So clients want to trust you. They want to feel comfortable with you. And eventually they want to rely on you. They want to go, here you go, run with it. Bug me when you've got problems. That's what the relationship that's what they're aiming for at the end of the day. So what they want to be able to do is build that genuine working relationship with you. I've got clients that I've had 3-4 years, and the reason they've been with me for 3-4 years is because we have such a great relationship. They come to me with ideas, I go to them with ideas. We work really well together in that if there's a mess up, I own it. I say to them, or if they do it, but they need a last minute change and they're really sorry because, boundaries and stuff, they're fine. But we've built up a relationship, a working relationship that works really well. They value the fact that I do a lot for them and they value having me around. And I value them as a client because they're very easy to work with, and we have a great relationship. And that is what you're aiming for with these clients. That's what you're aiming for. 2 more, I promise we're nearly done. Adaptability. So every client is different, every single one. Their communication style is going to be different. Their workflow, their priorities, they're all going to be all different. And you will find that there'll be last minute requests as part of your job. So being flexible and rolling with it is one of those things that you'll learn as a virtual assistant. You'll have moments where you'll feel absolutely flustered as anything. But this kind of separates the good VAs from the great ones. If you can just stay calm when you get those requests in, that's a good thing. But one thing I will say is last minute requests, make sure they understand the boundaries with this one. So when it comes to working with clients, you can be adaptable, but you need to be able to set boundaries. So understanding and being able to communicate those boundaries back is really important too. You want to be able to say, yeah, that's fine, that's a last minute request, but I'll have to do it tomorrow because say they've messaged you at 9 or 10 expecting you to do it that evening. That isn't adaptability at all. That's not a very good part from a client. But you need to be setting those boundaries when it comes to this part specifically, I'd say. But there's nothing wrong with last minute requests. It's good when you can be flexible and you do have time in your day to, really go above for your clients. They really appreciate that as well. And the last one. So this one is simple but critical. Do what you say you're going to do and respond when you say you will. Meet your deadlines and you will be fine. Clients do talk to each other, by the way. You will find if you work with someone and you don't, meet your deadline quite a lot, clients will start talking about, this virtual assistant, I have one. Yeah, they're not very good. They keep missing their deadlines, or I can't get hold of them, or that will impact your reputation, especially if you respond, say, to a Facebook group, social media ad or something for a job, and you pop it out and this client looks and goes, nah, they might reach out to the person and be like, don't employ this person. It sounds petty, but people will. People will respond to people who aren't doing what they asked. So making sure that you say do what you say you're going to do. If you have issues, then go to your client. Say, I can't meet this deadline because of X, Y, and Z reasons. But you are communicating, and that's the most important thing when it comes to it. So communication ties into this quite well as well. But if you said you're going to do something, just do it, or explain the reasons why you can't do it, or be there for the client at the end of the day. This is such an important one. If you think about it, if you work full time and you didn't show up till say 10 o'clock and your working hours are 9 o'clock, your work's going to be like, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? They won't appreciate that at all. So I've got a little task for you now. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Now I want a bit of an honesty self-assessment from you. Go through each of these skills and be honest with yourself. Which ones are your strengths and which ones do you think you need some work? So pop it in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. Because the great thing about virtual assistant skills is that most of these things you either have or you don't, but you will develop. You can develop. Organization can be learned. Communication, practice. Technical confidence, it grows over time. They're all things that, you can learn, or there's tools out there to help you in all aspects. So do not be put off by the fact that you can't do a couple of them, or, some of them are a bit scarier, like communication. You're like, actually, I'm not very good at that. You can learn it. Honestly, you can learn it. These things should not prevent you from being a virtual assistant at all. So if you loved this channel, and I hope you do, because I've got some fun-filled virtual assistant tips coming up in some other videos, excited to share, subscribe today, and I will catch you in the next one.